Oh, welcome one and all, Yanka here. Sorry, I was just in the dreaming there. So if you can't guess, today I am going to be talking about Netflix new show, The Sandman, which I have to say was pretty damn epic, in my opinion. I binged it. I watched the first episode and I was like, damn, give me more. So I've been watching it ever since. And it got really frustrated with having to wait for the new uploads. So I kind of just quit that, waited till everything was out and then watched the rest of it, because I am terrible for, if I really enjoy something and it's coming out week by week, then it absolutely drives me bonkers, because I either lose the thread of it or I forget that it's coming out, and then it's a year or two later by the time I actually get around to finishing it. So yeah, I waited until the last episode hit on, so I'd seen the first 4 episodes, but then there wasn't anything after that, and then I had to wait for the rest of it, which nearly killed me because I absolutely adored the show. It was just so good. Now, for those of you who don't know, The Sandman is a graphic novel, I believe, originally done by Neil. I can't remember his last name. I'll put all of the names up here. But he's also was one of the ones who was involved with making Good Omens over on Amazon Prime, which was really good as well. So his stuff is really good, and I went into it thinking, oh, this is the guy that did Good Omens, so it's going to be pretty, funky, chill, bit wacky, and then the first episode happened and I was like, damn, that's not, ooh, this is adult content. Which made Nyanko very happy. Lots of bad language, lots of blood, lots of goriness. All my favourite kind of things. But yes, basically the premise of The Sandman is about one of the characters who is one of 7 who are known as the Endless. So this particular one is known as Dream, or Lord Morpheus, who controls the dreaming, which is where when humans go to sleep, we go. So all dreams, all nightmares, all of everything is his domain. And it starts with him trying to get a rogue nightmare who's run away to the human world back in order. But instead, he accidentally gets summoned by a magic ritual gone wrong, because these guys were trying to summon death, because they wanted to control death and bring people back to life, basically. But instead, because there was another Endless on the planet, it summoned Dream instead, and they kept him locked up. Now, he's locked up there for about 100 years, and during this 100 years, there's something called the sleeping sickness that hits the world, which is when Dream got summoned and held captive. It was during the night while people were sleeping, and so a certain portion of people who were asleep at that point got stuck in the dreaming, or they were stuck in some form of eternal sleep, and it became known as the sleeping sickness. This becomes relevant later. I'm not sure, I won't go into too much detail if you haven't seen it, because I don't want to spoil, because it's such a good watch. You should really go and watch it. What else could I say about it? There's 3 or 4 storylines, actually. Okay, so I will say this. It felt like they were trying to put 3 or 4 seasons worth of stuff into the one in case it didn't get a second season, which is understandable with the way Netflix are at the moment. But yeah, it was really good. So the first part of it, so the first 4 or 5 episodes are about Dream being locked up and him trying to free himself, and then when he's free, it's about his revenge against those who held him captive. And there's another character played by David Thaliams. He was Lupin anyway in the 3rd Harry Potter movie, who was the son of the guy who held him captive, and he has his what's it called? His ruby. So basically, Dream split his powers between 3 items, just to help him kind of manage them, I believe. It's never really explained fully why he did it, but he has his mask that has power. he has his sand, which obviously the Sandman makes sense, and then he has his ruby, all three of which have power distributed between them. The sand was sold from the woman who stole it to the Constantine family. You can see where that's going. The mask was bartered away to a demon. You can probably guess where that's going. And then the ruby was left for the sun to take care of. Now, the problem with the ruby is that it was warping human minds because it was a power that couldn't be controlled. It's power that shouldn't be in the hands of humans, basically. So whoever has the items, if they're not like eternal or demon or some form of otherworldly creature, it basically kills them or drives them insane. So the sand, he gets back first. He then has to go to hell and deal with Lucifer to get the mask back, which is a really fun battle. I recommend just watching that episode on its own. And then he has to find the ruby, which leads into like the end of that particular arc. And I won't spoil anything for people, but it's really good. You should watch it. I've said that so many times already. It's only 6 minutes in. Oopsie. But yeah, basically he goes around on his quest for vengeance and to get his belongings back. And then you also learn more about his world and his realm and his siblings in his other 6 endless siblings, basically. So there's Desire and Despair, who are the youngest two, who are the twins. There's Destiny, Dream, Death, and the eldest one, and I'm forgetting his name or her name. We haven't actually met them yet in the storyline, so I'll put all of the names there of the 7 endless anyway. So yeah, Desire is a whole kettle of fish in and of himself. I don't get what Desire's deal is, or like the full motivations behind it. Is it just sibling jealousy or not? But he plays into the story quite heavily, and I can't wait to actually see more. I really do hope it does get a second season. Like, Netflix, don't be stupid. Renew it. Because it'll be interesting to see how those two go against each other. Death and Dream are very close together. They're like very good, like they've got like a very nice sibling bond. Because Death goes and starts helping Dream after he accomplishes his revenge. And he's a bit depressed because he's like, I thought I'd feel better for this. You know, why am I not feeling better? And Death is just like, come with me, and she's like giving him life advice while she does her job, and it's a really sweet family moment kind of thing, and it does hit home, and that leads into a really nice story about Dream handling like a relationship with a human over like decades, which becomes centuries. Again, I'm not going to fully spoil, but yeah, it's really good. And then the bit, I will admit, I got a bit hacked off with the last half of the season, just because like I really like fantasy, magical, even religious inspired like shows, because you see like a lot of religious symbolism coming through in the Sandman, because like again you've got the Endless, who are based off of different desires. You've got Lucifer in hell, which means there's a heaven because it's heavily implemented about that. There's Egyptian gods mentioned, and it's just, I love that kind of stuff. So I was like, really, yay, woo! And then and I loved the first half of the season, and then the second half of the season started, and I was like, oh no, I know where this is going. And it becomes, you've got, your human girl with superhuman powers, or is part of some superhuman, like, has powers that are going to, destroy the world, and then it becomes a do I kill her, don't I kill her situation. And now I loved the family situation for Rose Walker. So, okay, Rose comes into it. She's something known as a dream vortex, which is something that comes along every couple of generations and can kill, basically, and destroy the entire planet, because she brings down the walls in dreams, and it can lead to calamity, basically. Now, I love Rose, and I loved the sub-story with her where she's trying to find her little brother due to a family breakup years in the past. And I like how one of the nightmares actually comes into play there. It's really good, actually. Just my general view is, usually when you've got these really cool, powerful deity characters, or like really cool like superhero characters, and then suddenly they bring in the young, sidekicky, plucky, young, just really young one, really, and they're suddenly able to do everything better than the adults and everything better than anybody else, just without even trying. It really irritates me. I don't know. But yeah, so that kind of dragged a bit. For me personally, it's just, I was like, why couldn't Rose have been this really cool, otherworldly character that kind of came into it and became like an antagonist for the dream guy? But yeah, I don't know. I liked Rose, I liked her little brother, I liked all the characters that were around them as well. That was really good. I don't know. I think it's just the trope of, young generation comes in and they're all powerful and they can destroy the world, and you've got the older characters like, yo, it took me decades to get here. Lots of sweat, blood and tears, and then just suddenly, woof, this one can come in and do it all like that. And I'm like, I don't know, that just annoys me for some reason. I actually like how Stephen Fry was in it as well. He's one of my favourite British actors. He plays one of the Escaped Dreams, actually. Fiddler's Green. So, yeah, definitely watch it for that. Just Stephen Fry alone would make it top tier. But no, I do... So, like, as much as it was frustrating for me just to see that trope in it, I understand why it's there in a lot of media, and it's supposed to say that the next generation will come along and do better than we ever did. So I get that. It's just, it frustrated me a little bit. Couldn't it have been another endless character, not a human? But I suppose it's trying to show that humans have endless possibility to change and do better, which I do like that message. I don't know. I think it's because I've seen it quite a lot in Marvel recently. Sorry, it's a small tangent, but the new you've got the new TV series that are coming out where they've got, the young, plucky, I want to be just like you, Hawkeye, or, I want to be, better than everybody else, and it just irritates me. Go away, shoot. Yeah. It's like a cat moment. But yeah, I don't know. It just, especially when it invalidates all the work or it feels like it invalidates all the work that the main characters had to do to get where he is, and then suddenly little one just comes in and is like, "Boo, yeah, I got it," and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. That personally is just something that irritates me. It doesn't necessarily irritate everybody else, so I'll leave that there. But yeah, I apologise if that has offended people. It's just my personal view on it. So yeah, anyway, you go into the second half of the season and you've got everything around Rose. And now, one of the characters I really like is a character called Unity Kincaid. And it turns out that she was one of the children who fell asleep 100 years ago. And then never woke up. So she was stuck in the dreaming, or in her dreams, basically her entire life. And it's really interesting, actually, with her backstory and how she plays into the story. So again, I'm not going to spoil for people who haven't seen, but yeah, just, it was so good. The way it was written and everything, bar my one irritation, like I said, the trope in general. I did like Rose Walker, and I loved her story in that sense. Especially with her past as well. It was really nice to see her fighting for family and, being like, because she could have just walked away from everything that had happened. She didn't have to continue to fight, but it showed that even though she'd spent so long away from like her brother, she was still willing to fight tooth and nail to find him again. And I like that. It was a real good show of like sibling love. That just because you haven't seen them, say, in a decade, doesn't mean that you still wouldn't fight and, you know, claw and battle till your very last to be there for them. So I thought that was quite good. Now, another subset that plays in is the guy that got Morpheus caught, so the Dream, the Corinthian, he got Morpheus caught 100 years ago. Because he had to come to Earth to actually sort with him, and he wouldn't have actually been captured if he hadn't come to Earth to sort with the Corinthian. Now, yeah, the Corinthian is awesome. I really like him as a bad guy. He's just very, not even vicious. I mean, he's vicious. He's a serial killer, but he's just suave, and he's very, you know, this is my deal. I want to keep doing what I want. You know, I want my freedom. I don't want to go back and be under somebody else's thumb. And the way he plays into the story as well is, it's really nerve-inducing at points, because you're like, oh no, please don't, not that person, oh please no, and then it'll move on and you're like, oh thank God that person lived. Which is really good storytelling. Now, my ultimate favourite character in the show is Lucille. She is the librarian in The Dreaming, and while Morpheus was away, she kind of became like the head honcho and tried to keep everything running, even while it was like falling to pieces. Now, Lucille is amazing and I love her to pieces. She's sassy, she's, you know, I don't know how to describe Lucille more than sassy, awesome, empowering. I love her. She's my MVP for the main character, like for the supporting cast. And then, I mean, Morpheus, look at this face, he's hot. And the actor did a really good job as well at portraying him. So I was like, So Lucille and Morpheus are my two favourites. Now, I know Lucille was originally Lucien? Or was it Lucille or Lucielle? Is it Lucielle? Anyway, it's the female version of like Lucian or something, or Lucien. I'm not good with names. I do apologize. I will put the names here, right? Okay, right here. But yeah, now they did turn him into a her for the TV series, and I don't think it suffered for it. I actually really like that change. You know, it was funky. I've never actually read many of the comics. I've read the odd one, but I hadn't actually read all of it, so I didn't know much going into the Sandman. All I knew was that like the librarian was sassy and he was a badass and didn't take no shit out of nobody. But that's the same with, like, they've kept the core character. It's just instead of it being the librarian being male, he becomes a she, and I don't think it actually suffered anything for that. Like the character the core character was still portrayed really well, and the actress did an amazing job. I mean, my favourite character on the entire show. So yeah, I just had to make a video on it because, you know, when I watch something that I binge, I have to talk about it. I mean, maybe what I could do is do a few videos on shows that I wasn't particularly fond of or something like that, if you guys would be interested in seeing me do something a bit different in that sense. But no, for now, I'm just gonna, you know, ramble about my favourite things that I watch at the moment. So yeah, The Sandman, it's 10 episodes long for the main story. There is a extra 11th episode, but that focuses more on another deity called Calliope, one of the muses. Again, really well done, showing basically the darker side of humanity, and also the way that the gods and the old traditions are bound and how they might need to change. And I watched that last night and I was like, damn, I see what you're doing there. But it was really good. As a whole, I would rate it a 9 out of 10. Like I said, it loses 1 point for that trope of, you know, the younger one coming in. But yeah, it had great storytelling. It had wonderful characters. It sucked you in, and it left you thinking in places too. which is something I do like. Now, again, it is for older audiences, so please respect the age warning if you have watched this and you want to go and watch it yourself and you're underage, because there are some things in it that may be a bit traumatic for younger audiences. So yeah, please, watch with discretion if you are, thinking about watching it with someone who isn't of the age rating anyway. But yes, it's great. It's on Netflix. Go watch it if you've got a Netflix subscription. If not, pester a friend or family member who has it to let you come over and binge it at their place. Pray for a season 2, and if it gets cancelled, let's, rebel against Netflix and, totally petition the crap out of them to bring it back. Because it's really good. But yeah, I'd say there's probably a lot more I could say on it, but I'll probably, wrap it up here. Like this video if you agree with me that Sandman is epic and it was really good. Comment down below who your favourite character was, or what you liked about the show, or what you didn't like about the show. That would be great to hear from you. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of my face. I have been Yanko, my kittens. I love you muchly, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao!